Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel. My name is Michael, and I'm the owner of Crafty Pink Scorpion. Today, we're going to be making one of my absolute favorite styles of tumblers. And if you've been following me for some time, I'm pretty sure you would agree with me when I say I'm kind of obsessed with this style of tumbler. And today, I get to show you guys how I make this beautiful peekaboo tumbler with a little twist. So, as we go on this journey, all the materials that I will be using within this tutorial will be linked in the description box below, associated with any codes that may go with those links. And do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear from you guys and see what you want to tell me more about what you want to see in future tutorials. But I hope you guys like it, and I will talk to you soon.
Hey guys, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with spray painting the tumbler from bottom to top or top to bottom, whatever your preference is. I had another idea of where I was going with this tumbler, and then I kind of changed it, so that's why I ended up doing pink at the bottom and then stopping with purple at the top. So you're going to make sure you want to sand down your cup properly. Clean it off with 91% isopropyl alcohol, take it outside and spray paint it down. Then we're going to go in with fast setting epoxy from Counterculture DIY. You're going to want to mix this really well, equal parts A and part B. And when you're mixing it, you want to make sure you're scraping the bottom and you're scraping the sides of the cup as well, just so your epoxy is mixed well, because it will cause fish eyes. So as you can tell, the tumbler itself is already kind of glossed. That's because I put epoxy on it and completely forgot about it, and that interrupted the next step, so I had to add another coat. And I'm glad I did that because I didn't record the first time me putting epoxy on it, so it just kind of worked out. So we're going to do a really thin coat of epoxy. We're going to let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to add our, I want to call this polyacrylic, knowing that is not polycrylic. This is cellophane. I got this from Michael's, and I'll have the supply list for everything listed down below. But this cellophane wrap is from Michael's. It comes in like a large roll, and it's about 10 feet long. So I've been using this for a little over a year now, and I have not even used the one roll of this yet. So you're gonna just apply it on, you're gonna roll it flat onto the surface. You can kind of see that I crumbled it up too before I added it to the tumbler, and it's going to give it more dimension, as well as it's going to pop once we start to add more to this tumbler. So we're going to just cut away some of the excess of this cellophane wrap, and you'll start to see me kind of rub down the top part of the cup and then rub down the bottom part of the cup as well, just to make sure everything is completely flat. We don't want this to be like lumpy and bumpy whenever we go to add more coats of epoxy to it. I will tell you, with everything that we're adding onto it, everything that we've done, this cup isn't even a thick cup, so it's not really heavy or anything like that, so it won't be an issue for anybody carrying it. So yeah, so right here I'm just kind of tabbing everything down on the bottom of the cup, the flat part of the cup, again, to make sure everything is flat. And then I'll go in as well with the back of my X-Acto knife, just to kind of tab it in too, because remember, the epoxy itself is still a little tacky, so you don't want to touch that with your bare fingers. I would recommend, if you don't have like a X-Acto knife like this, you use a gloved hand just to kind of flatten it out. And this definitely helped me as we continued on adding extra layers or additional layers of epoxy to it. So there was no issue with lumpiness on the bottom, and it's been pretty leveled as well. We're going to go in and we're going to do the same thing with the top, but with the top, because it has all of that excess on the edge, we're just going to make sure we push it down really well, nice and firm towards the edge. And then we're just going to go in with the right side of that X-Acto knife now, and we're just going to cut away any excess. And then if you want to, you can use your vinyl squeegee to just push down the excess that is on that top edge. We're going to go in with another layer of epoxy. This is no more than 10 to 15 mLs. Because we crumpled it up, it did leave slight lumps on the tumbler, but not, as bad as what you would think with using such a texture like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in with another coat of epoxy. You're going to do the same exact thing that we did before. To help you out, I would leave it in front of or around heat, or just heat up your cup with your don't use your heat torch because that will melt your epoxy, but use like your heat gun just to warm it up a little bit, and that'll help your epoxy go on a lot smoother and stretch a little bit further. Next, we're going to go ahead and peel back this vinyl. This is stencil vinyl. I think I get this from Amazon. I'll have it linked down below though. But we're going to go in and start adding our peekaboo spots, stars, or circles, stars, and our leopard spots. And you guys will kind of see all of this start to come together as I go outside and add our next bit of spray paint to it. So I have no rhyme or reason as to where and how and why I'm placing things where I'm placing them. It's just kind of wherever you guys will see fit to place those items, place them where your sweetheart desires. You'll see me kind of like lift up some pieces and like move them around just based upon like how I feel about it and where it's placed. But again, there's no rhyme or reason. So again, we're going to go in with more spray paint. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I had another idea for this tumbler, and I was going to do like this whole reverse thing. And then I was like, no, I don't like this for this specific cup. Let's try something else. So that's exactly what I did. So we're going to go in. We did our full rainbow ombre. In true ADHD fashion, the idea changed. This is where I take it off screen. I look at it and then I'm like, nope, let's do this. So I started to add splotches to it. I definitely loved how this one turned out. So it didn't really, now it flows more with the overall tumbler, where before I just didn't feel or see the flow for myself. So we're just gonna add in spots here and there wherever you guys see fit, and adding these spots, just add them in. Again, there's no rhyme or reason, just kind of have fun with it and just add them as you go. If you feel like you don't have enough, just kind of go out, edit before you start to spray paint anything. So yeah, you can always like use alcohol and acetone and just kind of wipe away what you don't like. And just spray back in that area if you need to. We're going to go in with a very, very, very thin coat of Counterculture DIY's Facet again. Y'all, I live by Facet. It is the best thing. You can get your projects done a lot quicker with this. With this one, I use not even about, I think it was like 1 or 2 mLs of epoxy for this. My cup was already pretty warm because I keep it warm in my room, and then it was easy for that epoxy to just like glide on. And I have to use my finger to get it all out of the little cuppy cup. So we're just gonna make sure everything is smooth on that cup. And then from there, we're gonna go in and start adding our glitters. Now with the glitters, I am going to have them listed down below. So if you guys need to see them or anything, you can see them specifically of what colors I did use. You can take a screenshot of this as well, but these are the 6 colors that I use. And I'm just lightly adding glitter to the cup. This wasn't even a fourth of a medicine cup that I used of all of these glitters. So I don't want you guys to think that I wasted anything. I didn't. I definitely am using the excess glitter because you can kind of see that it's all blended in together. But I use the excess glitter for a different project, and you guys will see that at some point if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok. I'm very big on if you feel like you missed something or you are not sure if you missed something, take like a 10-second break, go do something really quick, come back and take a look at your cup just to make sure everything is completely done before your epoxy is dry or before you put it on the turner. That typically helps me and reminds me that, hey, something on this tumbler just doesn't look right. But yeah, this is all the excess glitter. And we're going to move on to our next step. And even though this is fine, I still want to lay the glitter flat. And the reason why I say that is because it will help with the peekaboo that's underneath. You can see like the embossed edge if you roll out your fine glitter. So that's a little trick that I use when I use fine glitters. I've seen people also use hot glue, tagging their stencil vinyl with hot glue before they spray paint it, so that way you can see where the hot glue is and then you can pull up the spots from there to make it a lot easier. But I've been doing these peekaboos for a while now, so it's just easier for me to do it this way. Be very careful as well as you're peeling everything up. You don't want to scratch your glitter because you only put 1 coat of glitter on this tumbler, so you want to make sure you don't scrape at anything because you will be able to see it. And it's really hard to hide some of those imperfections, but you can also go in with a very, very thin a little bit of epoxy on the end of a paintbrush and then just lightly sprinkle some glitter with your fingertips, almost like You know how Emerald Lagasse used to do the bam with the salt? Just grab a little bit of glitter in between two of your fingers and just kind of sprinkle it on there, and that should cover it up, dust it away, and let it dry for about 45 minutes to an hour. And that's what basically we're doing here without that added spray paint, not spray paint, without that added paintbrush step. We're just peeling everything up, and then we're gonna let it dry for a little bit. So once we let it dry, we're gonna go in with our peekaboos, and this is where you're really gonna start to see the tumbler come to life, because we are adding everything on this cup. Like I told y'all on Instagram before, this cup really made me happy when I was creating it. I was in like the happiest of happy moods when I created this cup. And I feel like I said that same thing with the last tumbler, but I think I was just super excited about everything that's just been happening. And this one just topped the cake. I smiled the entire 2 days that I was working on this cup. So you're just going to make sure that your offsets, you don't do them as offsets, you do an inset. And what that basically is you're not going to offset the circle or the star, you're going to inset it that way. And I did with these an inset of 0.080, I think. So the lines aren't super thick or super thin. It's definitely a lot easier to put them on. But I did an inset of 0.080 for these. And that way the lines of the circles and the stars are all touching the outside and the inside versus just outlining the outside of the star. I hope that all makes sense, because to me it makes sense. But sometimes you can kind of say stuff to people and it still doesn't, make sense to them. So I just want to make sure it makes sense to y'all. But at this point I feel like I'm kind of rambling. So I might just cut this part out later, but yeah. One other thing too is don't waste your vinyl. It's still got some tack to it. So continue to use it. Don't just like throw it away after you use it a couple times and starts curling and it doesn't work for you anymore. Just use that back end of that squeegee, the real rough part, and just kind of pick it up. But we're going to go in and start adding in all the stars and the filled in like stars and smiley faces to it. That's why we left some of those places empty where we were adding in our peekaboos earlier. That's why we left some of those empty, because I wanted some of those negative spots to be still covered with something that gives it a little additional pop. So at this point, we're going to go in and we're going to add, we're going to cut off these stars first. So we're going to cut off these little excess pieces that we no longer need. Some of these are the stars and the smiley faces that I overlapped. So this one I overlapped on the bottom of the cup, and then there's another one towards the top. Again, giving it more texture so it looks a little bit more full and fun. We're going to go in now and add our polycrylic. You can either use polycrylic or you can use Quick Coat from Counterculture DIY. I use whatever I currently have on hand. I did not mean to add this much because a little bit can definitely go a long way. So probably about 3 or 4 little drops would have covered this entire cup. I normally just coat the entire cup. Some people just go around the outline of the vinyl that they're trying to cover, but make sure you use this on every single tumbler. Do about 1 to 2 coats of epoxy on top of what you already have there. And then from there, you should have this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful epoxy tumbler. Y'all, my heart and soul went into this cup. If you want to learn more, please subscribe, like, and comment. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.